Hey everybody, and welcome to Maine Wedding Buzz. Today we have the farm at Beacon's Corner, and we're here with Michael, and he's going to tell us all about his new and exciting venue. It's a wonderful location. I have been out to it. It's got 110 possibilities, 120, 130. You can do anything from the barn to tenting to lawn sit-downs. So we're going to get to talking to him about that. So thank you for joining us today in this snowy day.
Really,
Again.
I know. More snow.
So
More snow. Thank you so much for having me.
my pleasure.
Fausto.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Western Massachusetts. I went to college in Hart School of Music in University of Hartford. I have a bachelor's degree in classical percussion. I went up to Los Angeles, and I was going to be a studio musician, and I got a little tiny bit of work like that. And I fell into the recording industry, and I did audio post-production in Los Angeles. I was there for 19 years.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah.
And so what exactly is that part of it? For me that I didn't.
Sure. I did a couple things. One is called Foley, and that's where we literally record someone's footsteps or even a hand slap on the leg.
Oh, wow.
And so the microphone, there'd be a Foley artist on stage, and me in the booth. Actually, I did both sides of the glass, they would call it. And so we'd have cue sheets, and you'd see the picture on screen, and we get beep, 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 and then they'd slap their hand on the leg, or beep, 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 and you walk in steps in sync with the people in the film or television.
Wow,
And,
19 years you were in California.
I was in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles,
Yep.
wow. Because California is a big state, like we were
California's
talking
a
about
big
earlier.
state, yeah.
So how did you get started in the venue industry with this whole wedding world?
Right. So my neighbor called me up, and she said her daughter was getting married, and I'm like, why is she telling me this? Because I mean, we talk periodically, but you know, it's like she doesn't call me every day or anything. And she said, so she wants to get married in a barn. And then I said, oh, okay. And she said to her daughter, where are we going to find a barn? And she said, Mom, Michael across the street. And so
As a barn.
as a barn. And so they helped me. There are horse stalls in the barn still. And I said, well, you know, if you help me, take out the horse stalls and help me with that, you know, you can have your wedding there. And I must say, had the wedding at the property, and it was almost surrealistic. She really did a wonderful job, and it was very exciting and wonderful, and it felt like it wasn't even my place, but
Wow.
it really went very well.
And they created these really cute little vignette areas, sort of like your chicken coop, which
They
is
did.
a great little area to put the bar.
Yes.
It's a wonderful little space because not only is everything self-contained, but there's also a deck, and so the bartender can work from inside the chicken coop.
That worked
which is kind of cool.
extremely well. Yeah, people were on the deck. A bartender was in the chicken coop itself.
Bistro lighting was hanging from the photos that you showed me.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah,
makes
absolutely.
the whole place look
They
incredible.
had a tent to the left of the barn as well.
And you have two fields, which you have a field that, if you go out to see his location, the barn sits in the middle, and then there's a nice open field that I think can hold about 150 people to 200. And then you have the back field that goes through a sort of not a pergola, but an arch area. You can go through it, and I think that space can hold up to 300 people for a bigger tent.
Absolutely. It's there's 4.5 acres of property, and there's they were pastures, two fields, and certainly large tents are certainly possible.
So I know that the barn hasn't been in your family, but how long have you owned the barn?
Excuse me, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
8 years. Yeah.
So that's nice. So that's a nice long time to get that going because the property's beautiful. I mean,
thank
the
you.
lawns are great.
Oh, thank you
they're
very
well
much.
manicured. They're well taken care of, which
Thank
is
you.
nice when you go see something. When I first went and saw it, I walked around before I knocked on your door just to take
did
a
you?
peek. And so I enjoyed seeing visually because that's the first thing when you drive up. It has to be visually appealing.
Right.
Because that's where you're going to be taking your photos.
Right.
So do you have room for the guests if they decide to stay on property?
I do. I have two rooms. Actually, you might call them suites because they have adjoining rooms. One of them has a queen bed with an adjoining room with a full bed,
Okay.
and then there's a bathroom, a private bathroom with that. And then downstairs, I have a room with a queen-size bed, and adjoining room that has a couch that folds out into a full bed. And that is more of an even kind of more private area, frankly. And there's a bathroom in there as well, so private bathroom.
Wow. And how many guests can the venue actually accommodate?
Can the
Like at the
for an
barn?
event?
Yeah, for an event.
Well, as the barn itself, they tell me it could be like 100 people for cocktail style in the barn. If you're going to seat it and have dinner in the barn, it's more like 72 people.
Yeah, and that's true. And that's, if you take 72 people, that's 8 tables, tables of 10. And I always tell everybody, make them tables of 10 because it makes it easier. You get more footprint out of your space. And if you're doing cocktail parties, then small 36-inch rounds and high tops, which then alleviate and give you a lot of movement around the space. And the barn has both wood and a cement slab in there.
It does.
So it gives you a dance floor that's already built in. So you're looking at saving if you have a small wedding, which is very interesting right now. Weddings are tapping out 80 to 100 people.
Oh, really?
Your venue is actually perfect for
right,
something like that. And so built-in dance floor, that's $1,500 savings right there because he has it already. So instant savings. Do you have a vendor list that you work with people?
I do, and so Fausto, my one and only wedding was last summer, this past summer, and you and Blue Elephant Catering, thank you so much for all the help.
Our pleasure.
All the help, and you've been guiding me through this process, and thank you so much. And I do have a vendor page,
Nice.
and I'm trying to pull it all together.
Yep. And he's adding new vendors, so if you're a vendor out there watching it, or come check him out.
Please.
I sent everyone a like page today, so make sure you like them.
Thank you again.
How late do your events go till? I mean,
Well, there's the venue's in Kennebunkport, and they have a sound ordinance where you can't have, at 10 o'clock in the evening.
and that's okay. I mean, weddings, you aren't going till 1 in the morning anymore or 2 in the morning. So
Right.
10 o'clock's a good time. You can actually leave there and go to an after party somewhere else.
Right.
and
I
stuff
don't
like
mind if people are, certainly milling about or whatever afterwards. But the live music or DJ,
off at 10.
right.
Nice. And typically, the way we operate is we're a 10-hour booking, but 5 hours is your actual wedding.
Yes.
And 3 hours is a setup and 2 hours is cleanup. So it's a 10-hour booking. Do you work the same way?
It's exactly the way I work.
Okay.
Thank
So with a 5-hour reception, that's an hour for cocktail and 4 hours for dinner and dancing. So keep that in mind too, because that's great too. And you can from 9 in the morning to 10 o'clock you can pick your wedding time. So there's plenty of things to do. What was it like to do the first wedding and then say, this is what I want to do? And did it just that day when you saw the wedding happening and unwrapping, basically, you see it happening before your eyes and you're like, oh, okay. Did you take a moment that day, or did it like weeks later you go, oh, I think I want to do this?
Honestly, I think it was prior to that really in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I may want to do something like this. I do rent these rooms, and I really enjoy having I've had people from around the country, from
And you do that
Europe.
through Airbnb?
I do it through Airbnb, and they can search in Airbnb Kennebunkport, and they'll see me in the farm and the house. And
Does that have a website that you want to shoot out to everybody? And tell them?
It's airbnb.com, and search Kennebunkport, and I'm one of the
Locations.
listings. Yeah, I actually have 3 listings. I put the barn on there as well.
Oh, nice.
And 2 of the rooms are on there. And I really do enjoy, especially the first morning, sitting down with coffee with the people, learning about them, and I tell them a little bit about me, and it's really very pleasant.
Oh, nice.
And I thought that it might be nice to have events, and then my neighbor said, hey, we'd like to have an event. And after it happened, like I said, she really pulled it together.
Yeah.
Anna really, really pulled it together. I have thanked them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's like a kickstart almost.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you came back from LA,
Mm-hmm.
19 years there, and what was your life before the venue here in Maine? What did you do? Well, what do you do, like, aside from the venue?
Oh, I have a recording studio.
Oh, so you still have the recording studio. Oh, that's
I
great.
do. I do.
Nice.
It's actually on the same property.
Nice.
In the L to the barn of my house, and that's been very exciting. In Los Angeles, I did audio post-production.
Yep.
And here it's been mostly music. I've done a couple radio spots, but mostly it's been anything from a singer-songwriter with a guitar and vocals to a jazz quartet, I should say. I have a grand piano in the studio.
Oh, wow. I have not seen the studio yet, so now I'm excited.
Come on by, Fausto. I've done classical music there, string quartet, and I've had an indie rock band from Scarborough, so it's really the whole gamut.
How many weddings are you looking forward to booking for 2015?
It's
like
a new
goal shot.
It's a new a new venture, if you will, for me. So
and the way the industry works, we book a year in advance. So
Right.
clearly, we've already talked about this. That basically what comes in is people that are looking for a venue that might have just gotten married, but most places have booked already. So you're really looking at 2016
I am.
and picking up. So which is really nice to have a venue understand that already, because there are a lot of venues that open their door and go, "Why am I not booking?"
Right.
Well, everybody booked last year,
Right,
and so
right.
really the target audience is 2016, and you might get, I don't call them stragglers, but people that wait till the last minute because,
Come on in
exactly.
if you're worried at the last minute.
We want you as a wedding person, so come in.
I guess to answer your question, I guess it's a couple a month of larger weddings. Now, of course, if someone, if I have a large wedding on the weekend, a nice a dinner in the barn on a weekday or even a weekend or on the off weekend that I don't have a large event, dinner in the barn, absolutely, that would be.
And let's talk about bars, because there are a lot of venues that allow outside, either bring in your own alcohol or do whatever you want to do. I'm a fan of having like a bar service there, only because
I think I'm going to require that they have a licensed bartender and a bar service
to do
and
everything.
I think that's just better for everybody. I think.
Yeah, all around, and I think for liability, and there are neighbors, and you have to think about those things.
Absolutely.
And so when there's a free-for-all, I think sometimes people tend to take more than what they should, and so that's. I'm not playing beekeeper. I'm just saying. So. So we did talk about a little bit about 2016 and our goal is to get the barn. And so are you looking mostly like Friday, Saturday and not Sunday? Or are you looking Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I'm open, frankly. I'm open. I'm not ruling out Sunday at all.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you're also willing to say you have a client comes in and want to rent the whole property for the whole week or a weekend, or is that something that can be done?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's great to know. That's good to know. So if you're looking for a venue and Michael's ready to talk to you about it, what does your year look like for 2016? Like your goals? Are you looking into doing a show on the property?
I would love to do that.
And we talked a little bit about that earlier.
Right. I would love to do that. And other people have talked about setting up a photo shoots and that sort of thing.
An inspiration shoot there.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And I'm very open to all that.
Great. And one of my favorite things is to cross-market with other vendors, because it's always great to be on their page as well as your page.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very old school, so for me, the most important, clients are important too, but the vendors, the venue is a very important process, because without the venue, you can't have a client. And the bride can't have a wedding. So the venue is a very, very important part of the whole day. And to me, the venue is number one, and everything else falls in place. And the reason being is because without the venue, the photographer can't take the photo. Without the venue, the band can't play, the DJ can't play, the caterer can't cook, the bride can't get married, and so on and so on and so on. So
we have your venue.
There you go. So keep that in mind. So cross-marketing to me is very important. So the more people in the industry that you're on, your name keeps popping up.
Right,
so
right,
that's,
right.
that's always a good thing. So have you reached out to people that you're putting on your list?
Once again, it's a new, and thank you so much for
Well, that's my second plug there.
for your help. There you go. So I'm working forward to that and moving and trying to move forward and trying to reach out to other people in the industry, and I would be happy to put you on my vendor page.
So
and
if
I'd
you're
love
a
to be on
vendor looking
yours.
at that, call Michael.
Please,
He's getting the
please.
list together. Reach out to us too at the office, and I can give you information as well for you. What about tenting? We talked about it. Do you allow? Is there specific spots that you allow the tenting? I mean, is there septic or a leach field?
There is a septic, and there is a leach field. It's frankly in a place where
Tents wouldn't go.
there's also lovely trees there,
Got it.
and so so you wouldn't even consider putting a tent there. So it's really not an issue.
And rental companies have already been out there.
They have.
So that's something, and I think the wedding, your neighbors, I think Party Plus did the tenting and the chairs there as well.
They did.
So they already know the lay of the land of where to stake, and that's always my fear sometimes, that I panic. Don't break anything that's underground. We don't want that to be an experience. And what role do you play at the event? Do you have a role that you've designated for yourself?
Just a host and to as best as I can make sure everything goes smooth. I really want to leave it up to the people who are holding the event to make it their own and to decorate as
Their vision.
They I will have the bare bones, and if you will, and hopefully there's enough there where they can realize their vision for their special event.
Well, that leads me to something with, there's a lot of fabric that's being used now in decor and lighting. Do you allow things to be attached? How do you require that to happen from lighting?
So there's plenty of electrical outlets, and there are 3 separate circuits in the barn, and there are
I think there's one designated for the band or DJ, I think you said.
There's one that works best, and because it's on its own breaker. But there are 3 separate circuits, so we can talk. And there's outlets.
Anything can be done.
And there's outlets even on the there's large beams of the barn. And there's even outlets on top, so you can string lights, etc.
And you have chandeliers in there.
Wagon.
Created
I
those?
did that. Yeah, they're wagon wheel chandeliers.
So that's actually cool because you've added those little touches to the property.
And if they want their own chandelier, frankly, these are plugged in, so you can literally unplug it, unhook it, take those out, and
bring new ones in.
Bring yours in, put yours in, and plug it in, and you're done.
Wow, that's great. That's actually really good to know. Do you have a funny story? I always ask everybody that's on the show a question. Do you have one story that sticks out in your mind getting into this industry? Because I always, 26 years later, I still find some things funny and enjoy them. Do you find it interesting as you've come into this crazy world that I say is the wedding industry,
right?
With all the vendors, and I say that in a good way, that you just go, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So, with not divulging anything crazy.
Well, since it is so new, I'm looking forward to those stories. But once again, I already talked about this one event, and I used the same words. It was surrealistic. It felt like, there were 100 people at this particular wedding, and I think I knew 10 of them, and it's my property, and
all this is happening on
all
your
this
property.
is happening, and it was stunning, and it was fun.
And it's really interesting that you should say that, because when you own a property, there's a lot of emotion that comes with that when you rent the property. And I've been very upfront with people who own their property and want to rent them. I said, once you rent it, you have to detach yourself. because you can't say, oh, wait, don't step on there, that my
Right.
grandmother planted that plant, because people aren't thinking about that, and sometimes they might step on something that was sentimental to you.
Right.
So you have to be very careful not to put the sentimental part in view of everybody. When you rent it and call it a day.
Right. Well, fortunately, with the Airbnb experience, it's been a really good experience with that. And so I've been doing that for a couple of years, and so I'm definitely open to all that, and it's worked out very well.
Great.
I'm looking forward to the event.
Give the Airbnb another shout out for your site.
It's airbnb.com, and just search Kennebunkport, and I'm usually relatively high up in the listings. I believe there might be even 30 different spaces.
And from Saco, this venue took us less than 15 minutes to get to your property. I think 15, 20 minutes tops.
Absolutely, yeah, it's very,
and
very
we
close.
were there, so it's very close. What's nice is it puts you in that area that everybody wants to be in. It's
close to Goose Rocks Beach.
Yeah, and it's the only barn in that area that's available.
I
think.
believe so.
There is no other barn in that specific space. I mean, other venues that are there aren't barn related, so it gives you something, that barn feeling, and it's very country-ish right there in that space where you've nooked.
People, it does have a feel where it's very close to Saco, Biddeford. It's close to Route 95.
Yeah.
However, when you're at my property, it's the Farm and Field section of Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
And you do feel like you're in the middle of the country, a middle of nowhere almost, but it's
which is nice.
Very accessible to supermarket or tent vendors or caterers or everything else.
And one last question: how did you come up with the name?
Back in now, maybe people can help me with this who are watching. There was a World War II beacon right across the street from the property. And if you search Google Maps and you search Beacon Corner in Kennebunkport, it is right across the street from me.
Oh, wow.
And so I call it the Farm at Beacon Corner.
So that was an easy way. And so was it always that, or did you create the name for the venue?
I created the name for the venue.
Wow. Well, I thank you for joining us today, Michael. As always, thanks for joining us on Maine Wedding Buzz. Check out his venue. All the information will be on at the end of the show. Check it out. Facebook him. It's a great venue. If you're looking for 2016, give him a call. Give me a call. I'll lead you to the right direction and help you with whatever you might need. Again, thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Fausto. Thank you so much.